old buddy Lizz Winstead is out there taking names and kicking ass. The comedian and author Liz Free or Die, the former co-creator and head writer of The Daily Show, reproductive rights activist, founder and chief creative officer at the Abortion Access Front, aafront.org. Lizz Winstead is the Twitter handle, or Abortion Front. Liz, welcome back to the program. It's been a while. I see you're coming to Portland November 3rd and 4th. You're going to be at the Siren Theater in Portland. You're going to be in San Francisco on November 6th. You're hitting the road?
I'm hitting the road. You know, I'm feeling a little bit trepidatious, I think, like most performers. It's like you really want to get out there, especially now, being somebody who talks about the world. It's kind of like, I need to be in it. I need to talk to people. I think people need a catharsis. And, you know, when you have a whole... You know, you just set it up right and get people to come. You know, you proof of vax and wear a mask, and let's talk about all those people who deny science and like laugh about them.
Yeah, and you also have a new program, a talk show that you're starting, Feminist Buzzkills. You're launching that next month or the month after next.
I am. We're very excited about that. You know, Tom, it's been a series of ever since I really started Abortion Access Front, been a reproductive rights activist for years. It always seems like the media will sideline it or talk about it when it becomes a Texas or a Mississippi or an Alabama. And so we decided to do a talk show that combined, you know, speaking truth to power using humor, bringing on facts, experts, abortion providers, activists, so that we can keep people informed on a weekly basis about just the profundity of these laws that are being passed, because it's happening with such frequency that it deserves its proper place in a media landscape. So we decided to give it one.
Yeah, I'm with you. I got an email today that I would love to get your take on. This is from the Whole Women's Health Alliance, you know, which runs some of the abortion clinics in Texas.
I'm on the board, by the way.
Oh, cool. Okay. Well, their email says, you know, we're working hard to create a world free of shame, stigma, and judgment. So there's a reason why we say we're pro-abortion. They note it's not uncommon for people to say I'm pro-choice, not pro-abortion, but then they say, if you know, as we navigate this tremendously fraught time for abortion activists or access, we are asking you to stand with us and commit to being explicitly pro-abortion. Abortion isn't a dirty word. And then they go through this list and say abortion is a human right. It helps people thrive. It's health care. It's radical active self-care. It's normal. Abortion providers are heroes. Everyone deserves compassionate abortion care. Abortion saves lives. Abortion makes lives better. Abortion is a moral and social good. That's a pretty radical reframe from, you know, Bill Clinton's, you know, it should be safe, legal, and rare, right?
You could call it a radical reframe, or you could say, why did we ever separate abortion out of healthcare? Why did we allow the talking points from extremists in the movement who defined abortion incorrectly, who made people and had value judgments around abortion? And I think that Bill and Hillary Clinton and second-wave feminists often did a disservice in talking about abortion, because, you know, that has been the legacy that we've been left with. How do you defend a right if you can't say it? And oftentimes I like to ask people to check in when they'll say things like, well, I'm pro-choice, but I'm not pro-abortion. I often say, what is it that makes you, you know, have this knee-jerk reaction to say that? What is it about abortion? If we believe it's moral, we believe the science on it, we don't want to have judgment about it, why can't we talk about it in a positive light? The second we... And working with providers, I work with providers all the time, and I work with people who've had abortions and people who are escorting patients. And what they say to me, and myself who's had an abortion, what they say to me is when people put abortion into a space of judgment or a space of stigma and putting that sort of negative connotation on it, it makes them feel like bad people. It makes the doctors feel like the work they're doing is somehow dirty. And it makes people, and this is the most important part, it makes people who are who have needed support for accessing abortion or getting abortion, it makes them feel like they can't trust you to be a supportive person because you are putting caveats and judgment. Because there is no good abortion and there's no bad abortion. There's just the abortion you need. And we really need to be doing some of that reframing. And I would argue, let's not make it seem radical. let's bring it back to a normalizing place. You know, it's sort of like in the landscape of what we talk about constantly. You know, we're called radicals if we don't want our planet to become scorched earth, if we want clean water, if we just simply want people to wear masks and get vaccinated. That language has become radical. To me, that's practical. You know, so let's talk about it in practical terms.
Isn't the core debate here, and I think, you know, we have to take this conversation head on, particularly because in large parts of the country, the evangelical movement has, which was, by the way, pro-choice prior to 1980. The evangelical movement has become the vanguard rather than the Catholic Church. They've become the vanguard of the anti-abortion movement. And it's become like one of the top 3 issues for Republicans all over the country, is abortion. Is this question of, is a mass of cells inside a woman, at what point does that transition from being a potential human to being a human? And the Supreme Court in the, not in Roe, what was it, the one that followed?
Casey?
In Casey, excuse me. You know, they came up with this, 3-trimester thing and said it becomes a human when it's viable, when it can live outside of.
Well, right, that was Roe. Roe created this trimester system that was not, that consulted no science. It was judges who just, no, it was Roe.
Okay.
Casey gave us the state's ability to curb access.
I see. Okay. Well, in any case, the point was that they were saying, you know, from a scientific point of view, at least in our opinion, we're not talking about a human being until it is capable of living outside of mom. And prior to that, it is the potential for a human being, but it is, a mass of growing cells. And on the other hand, you've got the religious folks who are saying, no, we believe, I mean, if you go with the Catholic dogma, that we believe that became a human being at the moment that mom and dad decided that they were going to have sex. In other words, there shouldn't be a condom in the way. No, seriously.
Right.
I know. And then the evangelical perspective, which is no, it became a human being the moment that it was fertilized or it was implanted or the moment that there's some electrical activity that you could call a heartbeat at 6 weeks. This seems to be like the core of the issue, and there is absolutely no consensus in America, particularly among religious people, about where that point is.
Well, different religions believe in different things, right? And so, you've laid out some Christian dogma, and the evangelicals actually believe that forms of birth control are actually abortion. Anything that prevents pregnancy, so an IUD, they'll call an abortifacient because it prevents the implantation of a fertilized egg, right? And so someone's religious beliefs, people have many religious beliefs. We don't create a society based on them if you have a society that is free. And so the medical consensus is definitely that there is no viability to a fetus up until 24 weeks. And then what happens is a lot of folks don't want to talk about the myriad of things that can develop in a pregnancy after 24 weeks, where the fetus will no longer develop and have compatibility with life.
Right.
And so that's why people oftentimes have later abortion. And so we don't ever want to, it's hard to argue with somebody who's going to say to you, my religious beliefs tell me that, an embryo is
right, and they've anthropomorphized that embryo. They've established a personality for it, essentially.
100%. I mean, and what's really been frustrating is because of the lack of reporting on this with experts and scientists and researchers and abortion providers in the media, those talking points get repeated. The New York Times indulged this insane op-ed from somebody defending the Texas bill, saying it was a good first step. And this person literally said, well, we all need to realize that at 6 weeks is when a fetus develops a jaw. And I'm like, maybe if you're Jay Leno, but that's just not true at any level.
No, it's the size of a grain of rice and it has a tail at 6 weeks.
100%. And so it's like, what is it that, and it goes back to saying abortion out loud, and really talking about it, because unless we have these conversations, these misinformation is going to just dominate the conversation. And just like we are all trying to navigate this tsunami of conspiracy theories that we're trying to weed through, there are also abortion conspiracy theories promoted by a lot of these same people. That you can reverse your abortion. 12 states pass laws that have doctors having to tell their patients that if they choose to have an abortion in the middle of their medication abortion, they can reverse it because some crackpot has an unpeer-reviewed study that he tried loading up pregnant people with progesterone, and their pregnancies and their abortion didn't complete. It's not based in any medical science, but now we have states passing laws that say doctors have to refer to it. Like you said, this 6-week thing, this heartbeat, making people wait for what reason? Life is compatible. A fetus is compatible with life after 20 weeks. None of these things are true, and yet politicians are pushing them forth.
So, Liz,
as though they are medically sound.
Liz, we just have 45 seconds left here before we hit a hard break. Tell us about Abortion Access Front, your organization.
We are an advocacy organization that is working with physicians and people on the ground to help grow activist bases in all 50 states so that if we go in and do a show in your town, we invite the providers and the activists in that town to have a conversation with us on stage so that we grow activist bases, and community activism can start there so people can fight these laws on a state level.
Yeah. And the website is?
aafront.org, and come see my shows, Portland. I want to see you in Portland and San Francisco.
Yeah. And the show that you're going to be doing is not an abortion show. It's a stand-up comedy, right?
Stand-up comedy show where I am just looking at the world we live in right now and taking it on because I think we all need to laugh and we all need a catharsis, and it's nice to be in a room full of people.
There you go. November 3rd and 4th here at the Siren Theater in Portland, and in San Francisco on November 6th. Lizz Winstead, aafront.org, and Lizz Winstead on Twitter. Liz, Lizz Winstead. Liz, thanks so much for dropping by. It's great talking to you.
So great to talk to you.
Thank you. Back at you.